Under the lights of Lumen Field, everything feels heavier. Not just the air, not just the noise, but the weight of what this game means. Monday night, Seattle versus Houston. And this isn't just another matchup. This is a test of pride, test of identity. Because before that long, silent bye week, the Seahawks need to prove something. Not to the league, not even to the fans, but to themselves. For too long, Seattle's home turf has felt quiet. The same stadium that once shook beneath the roar of the 12s has turned uncertain, uneasy. What used to be a fortress has started to crack. For wins, 8 losses at home under Mike Macdonald. That's not the Seattle we know. That's not the energy that built legends. And now it's all on this game. Lose here, and you sit in that silence for nearly 2 weeks, stewing in frustration. Win, and you walk into that bye week with your chest out, knowing Lumen Field still belongs to the Seahawks. But to win, they'll have to fight a Houston defense that's been an absolute menace. This isn't the same Texans team from a few years ago. They're fast, violent, and disciplined. They hit you early, they hit you often, and if you fall behind the sticks, it's over. And that's been Seattle's biggest weakness. Too many drives have died on 3rd and long. Too many times the offense has looked out of rhythm, one misstep away from punting away another chance. That can't happen Monday night. The mission is simple but not easy. Stay on schedule. Get your 3 yards. Keep the chains moving. Don't let Houston's front dictate your rhythm. Because if Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet can start punching holes early, it opens everything. Changes the tone. Turns frustration into fire. This is the game where Seattle must remember who they are. A team built on toughness. A city built on noise. A fan base that doesn't quit, no matter how ugly it gets. Monday night isn't just a matchup. It's a moment of truth. And if the Seahawks are who they say they are, they'll rise when Lumen Field roars again. Every great Seattle win has started the same way, with the ground trembling before the first whistle. That low rumble from the 12s. The pulse of Lumen Field. But this week, the question isn't about noise. It's about muscle. It's about control. Because if Seattle wants to beat Houston, they must win the battle no one talks about. The silent war fought in the dirt and in the trenches. The Texans' defense doesn't play pretty football. They play fast, violent, and relentless. They've held opponents to under 2 touchdowns on the road. Not because of trickery, but because they hit you in the mouth on every snap. They don't wait for mistakes. They create them. That's why this game starts and ends with the Seahawks rushing attack. No more hesitating. No more dancing behind the line. If Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet can even scrape out 3 yards a carry, the game changes completely. 3 yards might not sound like much, but it's everything. It turns 3rd and long disasters into 3rd and manageable opportunities. It opens the entire playbook. Play action, shotgun, draw, rollout. All of it becomes fair game. That's when Sam Darnold stops playing under pressure and starts playing with freedom. And that's the key. Because as good as Darnold has been this year, calm, confident, and resilient, even he can't carry this team on his back every single week. He's been a warrior, but he's not Superman. Seattle can't afford to live or die on his arm alone. The run game must protect him not just from defenders but from the burden of having to be perfect. That protection begins with the men who never get the spotlight. The offensive line. It's cliché but true, the game will be won in the trenches. Houston's front 4 under DeMeco Ryans is one of the nastiest in the league. They don't just rush the passer, they collapse pockets, blow up run lanes, and chase everything that moves. Seattle's linemen, the big boys in the middle, have to play the game of their lives. And on the edges, that's where the fireworks begin. Because staring across from Charles Cross and Abe Lucas will be 2 absolute monsters. Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. 7 sacks between them already, and it's only mid-season. Anderson, the prodigy from Alabama, is everything scouts said he'd be: explosive, disciplined, and mean. Hunter is a technician, long arms, perfect timing, a nightmare for any tackle who hesitates for even half a second. For Cross and Lucas, this is personal. Seattle drafted them to be the foundation, the walls that keep chaos out. Cross was brought here to anchor this franchise for a decade. Lucas earned his contract by proving he could handle anyone in the league. Now, under the bright lights, against two of the most dangerous edge rushers in football, they get to prove it. Not with words, not with stats, but with grit. If they can stand tall, if they can keep Darnold clean, Seattle's offense will finally breathe. Walker and Charbonnet can attack. Darnold can find his rhythm. The crowd can rise again. Because when the trenches are won, everything else starts to fall into place. And Monday night, in front of their home crowd, Seattle's linemen have a chance to remind the league what it means to protect the city that never stops believing. Every great offense needs a spark, and for Seattle, that spark has been Jackson Smith-Njigba. Through 6 games, he hasn't just been good, he's been electric. Nearly 700 yards already, rewriting expectations week after week, and proving that this team doesn't need a name like Metcalf to light up the scoreboard. But now, he faces one of the toughest challenges of his young career, Derek Stingley Jr. It's the kind of matchup that reminds fans why they fell in love with football in the first place. One man, built for precision and speed. The other, born to break coverage and create chaos. 2 young stars, both chosen to lead their franchises into the future. Meeting under the Monday night lights. Stingley isn't a big talker. He doesn't need to be. His game speaks for him. He's the kind of corner who mirrors your every step, reads your hips, and cuts off your space before the ball even leaves the quarterback's hand. He's fast, smooth, and disciplined, exactly the kind of player built to challenge a technician like JSN. But here's the thing, Jackson Smith-Njigba doesn't just win with speed. He wins with brilliance. Some weeks, it's the sharpness of his routes. Other times, it's how he manipulates zones, finding the exact soft spot between defenders like he's reading their minds. He's part artist, part assassin. And the Texans know that if they leave him one-on-one for too long, he'll make them pay. That's why this matchup is so crucial. If JSN forces Houston to double him, it cracks open their entire defense. It frees up Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton, and Elijah Arroyo. It slows down the blitzes. It changes the entire tempo of the game. One receiver dictating how an entire defense operates. That's greatness. Just look at the numbers, they almost don't seem real. Every route he runs, not every catch, every route, averages over 4 yards of production. That means even when he isn't targeted, he's still tilting the field, still moving the chains just by running. No one else in the league is doing that. Not even the top-tier guys. It's absurd. It's genius. It's pure JSN. And to think this was supposed to be a prove-it year for him. People said he needed DK Metcalf beside him to draw coverage. They said he couldn't handle WR1 responsibilities. Now he's making those same critics watch him rewrite the story of Seattle's offense, one route at a time. Monday night, it's not just Seahawks versus Texans. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba versus Derek Stingley Jr., a one-on-one duel that could define the entire game. One defending pride, one chasing greatness, both young, both fearless. And when the lights hit the turf, and the ball leaves Sam Darnold's hand, we'll find out who bends first, the star or his shadow. There's one rule in football that never changes. No matter how good you are, no matter how loud your fans are, if you turn the ball over, you lose. And for the Seattle Seahawks, that truth has never been more important than it is right now. Because this Houston Texans defense, they live for mistakes. They feed off chaos. They swarm after tipped passes, chase loose balls like sharks in open water, and turn every misstep into a dagger. They don't just play defense, they hunt. And if Seattle gives them even one extra possession, that could be the difference between going into the bye week feeling unstoppable, or sitting in silence wondering what went wrong. Sam Darnold knows that better than anyone. He's been through the storms, the interceptions, the collapses, the headlines. But this year, he's been calm, steady. He's been the heartbeat of a team trying to rediscover its identity. And the mission on Monday night is simple: protect the football. Every snap, every decision, every read, it all matters. This can't be a game of hero throws or forced plays. It has to be a game of patience, discipline, and control. The same mindset Seattle used when they beat Jacksonville, where they leaned on the run, played clean, and let the defense do its work. Because make no mistake, this won't be a shootout. This is going to be an old-school slugfest. The kind of football where every first down feels like a small victory, and 20 points might be enough to win. Two defenses that hit hard. Two teams fighting to prove they belong in the playoff conversation. Whoever blinks first loses. But there's one more side to this story, Seattle's defense. They've been dominant, but something's been missing. Through 6 games, they haven't forced a single fumble. Not one. For a defense built on aggression and speed, that's almost unthinkable. Monday night is the moment to change that. C.J. Stroud has looked human at times this year. The Texans' offense can stall under pressure. If Seattle's front line, Leonard Williams, Boy Mafe, Jarran Reed, can collapse the pocket and make Stroud uncomfortable, those turnovers will come. And if the Seahawks can finally start flipping the field instead of defending it, the game will tilt in their favor. The formula is clear. Stay on schedule. Win in the trenches. Protect your quarterback. Let JSN be the star he's becoming. And above all, don't hand the Texans an inch. Because this isn't just another Monday night game. This is about pride. About proving that Seattle can still defend its home, that Lumen Field is still sacred ground. The lights will be bright. The noise will be deafening. And the Seahawks, bruised, hungry, and determined, have a chance to remind everyone what happens when you come into their house and take them lightly.